back. The war in the Middle East entering day 14 this morning as Israel is preparing for a ground invasion of Gaza. President Biden addressed Iran during the speech last night, claiming he will keep Iran in check. Watch this.
Iran is supporting Russia in Ukraine, and it's supporting Hamas and other terrorist groups in the region, and will continue to hold them accountable, I might add.
Continue to hold them accountable. Joining me now is retired two-star Marine Corps General Arnold Punaro. General, thanks very much for weighing in this morning. Your reaction to the president's comments there on Iran.
Well, Maria, let me say that you said earlier in the program the world's on fire, and I totally agree. I think we're not at an inflection point. We're at the most dangerous point for our national security in the last 78 years since the end of World War II. We have a war in Europe. We have a war in the Middle East. We have China threatening a war in the Pacific. We have Taliban rebuilding their terrorist capability. We have North Korea pushing the edge of the envelope. Our borders are not secure. And the number one function of our government is to protect our citizens at home, protect our democracy and our freedoms. And you can't do that as long as Iran is not held in check. And they are the evil puppet master that is driving Hamas, that is supporting Hezbollah, the Houthis, funding and helping Russia in Ukraine. And so, absolutely, Iran needs to understand if they continue to push for escalation, that they're going to pay a heavy price. We need to let them understand their leadership's at risk. Their oil refineries are at risk. Their nuclear enrichment.
Why would they, General, why would they understand this when all we've been doing is appeasing Iran? I mean, let's face it. This administration lowered the sanctions on Iran, enabling Iran to generate up to $50 billion in oil revenue. And they're using that money to, improve their nuclear weaponry. They're using that number to back these terrorist groups, Hamas and Hezbollah. So I'm not sure what the president is talking about, when he says we're going to continue to hold them accountable. We're not holding anybody accountable.
Maria, I think we've got to change their calculus, and we've sent some significant forces to the Middle East, and they need to understand that we're prepared to use them. And the same thing goes with deterring China against Taiwan in the Pacific. I think it's really important. You had a lot of discussion earlier about the Congress and the House of Representatives. I would urge the caucus, not that I have any influence with them, but to look at changing their exposure and look at putting in a wartime speaker, somebody that served in combat, somebody that understands that the number one function of our government is to protect our national security. And you can't do that with long-term continuing resolutions and spreading things out, into next year with uncertainty. The Pentagon is already losing billions and billions of dollars a month under the current CR. So I think we have to change the calculus both for China and for Iran, and they need to understand we mean business.
Yeah, so how do you do that? I mean, let's just look at the last couple of days, General. U.S. troops near Baghdad, Iraq, were targeted in a drone and rocket attack. This happened just minutes before the president's address last night. All week, U.S. troops have repeatedly been attacked in Iraq and Syria. Some incidents did lead to minor injuries. A U.S. Navy destroyer also intercepting several missiles fired by Houthi militants near the coast of Yemen yesterday. General, what are we to make of this? What is the red line that would cause the United States to get involved in this in a bigger way? They're taunting our troops.
Maria, I would say the red line is certainly Iran escalating into a wider conflict. And look, our military and our contractors that support our military in those regions, they're used to these kind of harassment attacks, and we understand how to punch back at a time and place of our choosing to keep them from going further. Yes, they've been more rapid. Thank goodness we had the destroyer that was able to knock those missiles down. We have tremendous military capability that's been moved into the region. I feel very confident that our specially trained forces that do hostage rescues are ready to move at a moment's notice if they got the proper intelligence and the go-ahead. So, yes, I think we have to basically, as one of your earlier commentators said, we've got to have peace through strength. They've got to understand Iran, Russia, China, that we mean business.
Yeah, Hamas leaders, meanwhile, are now calling for another day of rage, General. They're asking Muslims today worldwide to protest against Israel and against America. The State Department issued a worldwide caution alert, warning of potential terrorist attacks and demonstrations, violent actions against U.S. citizens and interests. The State Department is urging U.S. citizens to stay alert in locations frequented by tourists. General, this is a rare worldwide caution alert. Your reaction?
Maria, I think it's very prudent for our government to tell our citizens, both here and abroad, to basically be on high alert. We're in a very dangerous period. I said the most dangerous period that we've been in for our national security in the last 78 years. Secretary Robert Gates believes the same thing. You've talked about it many times on this program, and we have to basically be strong. And again, I think our military is ready and capable to deal with this. But we're in a very dangerous period, both here at home and abroad, without question.
Meanwhile, we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to the Chinese Communist Party every year because of all of the companies that are embedded in exchange-traded funds and markets. We're looking at a picture right now of Beirut on Wednesday with the massive activity going on as Hamas calls for another day of rage. But I'm bringing up China because we are having investors unwittingly fund the expansion of the Chinese Communist Party. We have a wide open border where, people are coming into America undetected from all across the world. Why would we think that we are, exercising caution here?
Well, Maria, I hope that funding package that's been described and you've reported on earlier today contains all the elements that basically to continue to support Ukraine so we defeat Putin in Russia so he doesn't push through Ukraine and then start moving west just like Hitler did in World War II, that it has funds in there for Israel to be able to defeat the Hamas terrorist threat to their nation, to help secure our borders. We need funding in the Indo-Pacific, particularly to deter China. I'm very confident the Senate they won't get 100 votes for it, but I think they'll get over 60 votes and then send it to the House. And frankly, I have tremendous respect for J.D. Vance, a fellow Marine, but the people that are opposing funding for Ukraine, including Jim Jordan, who's running for Speaker, that's why I think we need a wartime Speaker in the House of Representatives. That's appeasement, in my view, to Putin, and appeasement results in worldwide disaster.
Yeah, well, General, unfortunately, we are watching the real-time effect of all of that. General, good to see you. Thanks very much for your insights this morning. Arnold Punaro joining us this morning.
Anytime, Maria.
Thank you, sir.